you shoot me, man? God. Why? Oh, why'd you do that, man?
We can't keep letting him get away with this, even if he does have a license to kill. Welcome back to another James Bond movie. This one is called No Time to Die, otherwise known as No Time Like the Present, because he's presently working on living his sweet life in retirement, up until the moment, just like every other movie, where he gets kicked right out of retirement. Dear Lord, this time he goes up against another baddie who's got another weapon of mass destruction. But luckily, it's attached to the face of Rami Malek, so that should be nice, right?
Oh, oh, thank God. Jesus, what a breath
Do you
of
have any real ties, or are they all clip-ons?
Yeah, I always have a clip on just in case of any moment like this. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another movie review.
Yes.
What is we seen this time?
We had seen the latest in the James Bond series, starring Daniel Craig. No Time to Die.
That's the one.
Yeah, this one was directed by Cary Joji Fukunaga, who did Beast of No Nation, which is one of my favorite movies.
It's a fantastic movie.
And by one of my favorite, I mean like one of my hundreds of favorite movies.
Definitely one of the Netflix favorites.
Yes, top 100 for sure. Starring Daniel Craig, of course, Lea Seydoux, Rami Malek, Ray Fiennes, Lashana Lynch, Ben Wishaw's in there, Naomi Harris from last week's video is in there.
Academy Award nominee.
Jeffrey Wright, and a bunch of other people. You know, Bond movies always bring out people. Christoph Waltz. Yes. And yeah, I think the biggest thing going into this, most people know this is Daniel Craig's final role as Bond. I have never been a huge fan of James Bond in general. If I'm honest, I've seen one Sean Connery James Bond, and then all of the Daniel Craig ones, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And I've seen enough of like the Pierce Brosnan and stuff to know that it's not really my cup of tea, except for Daniel Craig. I feel like the Daniel Craig series of James Bond's movies have added enough emotion, whereas like otherwise it's just a mindless action movie.
There's more construction in their stories and everything.
Continuity as well, which I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure there's no continuity throughout the rest of them, but there's been a great line of continuity throughout Daniel Craig's, to the point where in this one they make a callback to Ava Green's character. To be honest, I know she's in it. I don't know which one, but
Casino Royale.
She's in Casino Royale. I don't remember what happens to her.
She doesn't swim very well.
She doesn't swim very well. I mean, other than Michael Phelps, who really does swim well.
I think he's the only person who actually knows how to swim.
The only person in the world. No one he competes with knows how to swim.
Obviously, as we know, this has been in a little hiatus of COVID pushback.
Yes, supposed to come out last year.
For a long time, and it finally did.
Yes. There was a lot more. This is the one problem with continuity, is I always forget that they have continuity in this series of James Bond movies. And they made a lot more callbacks in this than I recall. Which honestly was the biggest problem for me, just because, like, who's got time to watch 4 other James Bond movies to come watch this one? A lot of people do. I'm sure that's actually happening. But for someone who's not a fan of the Bond movies, it was just like, okay, they're calling back to something. I don't know what it is. So there's a lot of moments where I was just like, callback, I'm assuming, but it really didn't have any idea what was going on. But that didn't detract from my enjoyment of the movie. I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought for a core, I I really like the Daniel Craig Bond movies.
Mm-hmm.
I like a good chunk of the other ones that I've seen too, from the past Bonds. What you didn't like about that is, I mean, obviously you're not a big Bond fan, but
I don't dislike Bond.
well, no, I meant like,
It's-
yeah, you're not hardcore, so you don't
Yeah.
really watch all of them and stick with them as much as
I
possible.
was going to like the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Then I watched the very first one. I was like,
What, Casino Royale?
the Sean
Yeah.
Connery Casino Royale. And
Oh,
that, or was that one Casino Royale? Whatever the
know.
first Bond movie ever made was. I watched that and I was like,
I think there was before Connery, but anyway.
either way, I was just like, after watching that one, I was just like, do I really want to watch 20 other movies of this?
But I'm a big fan of the at least Daniel Craig and his Bond and the story they really came up with as far as the whole world and little cinematic universe he's got going on. So like those callbacks I thought were really cool, especially with 3 hours. Like, I mean, they pack a lot in there, and for me I really enjoyed kind of the whole movie as far as that aspect goes, because this is like the final thing. This is the last we get. So there's a bunch of callbacks to a bunch of things, and they bring every piece of what we have seen into basically this one for basically a big finale. Ava Green in the beginning was a huge core like concept for just that first opening sequence, and I was like, yes, that's awesome, cool. And then just that opening sequence period was really cool for me, at least. And
In the, I believe it was an Italian village, that one?
yes,
Okay.
I don't remember.
I could be wrong, and that might not be Italy, but it seemed very Italian to me. But yeah, I have enjoyed all the Daniel Craig Bond movies. I remember, I believe it's Quantum of Solace,
The second one.
the second one in the Daniel Craig. It might also be Casino Royale. I legitimately do not remember which. I'm pretty sure it was Quantum of Solace, because didn't Sam Mendes do that?
I don't know.
Okay, well, it ends very quietly, where like Bond visits someone in Russia, I want to say, and it doesn't end in like this big gunfight. And it was like
I'm pretty sure that's the first one.
Casino Royale. Okay, well, it's one of the two. It's definitely not any of the
Because he just meets with somebody and then.
Yeah, but it was a very powerful emotional scene in that one, and that's when I knew that the Daniel Craig ones were different. And again, I could be wrong. My outward perception of the other James Bond movies is that they don't really they just try to make it cool. They don't try to add like humanity or emotion to it, and that's fine. But when I saw that one, I was just like, okay, this is going to be a different James Bond, and this one really drove that home. There was a lot of humanity to Daniel Craig's character, to the point where he only had relations with one woman in it, and it was romantic, and things happened, and it really added to his character, the maturity of his character, and it rose the stakes in a way, because when there's no one that he cares about, then why should we care about them?
Yeah, he in most of the movies he's either like bouncing back and forth between people. I think as far as this one went, this movie specifically, I didn't care for Spectre that much.
Was that the fourth one? Like
It
the
was
one right
the
before?
one right before this one.
Skyfall was great, and
Skyfall was great, but
Spectre I didn't care for.
Spectre, I didn't care for Lea Seydoux' character almost at all, and I almost completely forgot about Spectre altogether, because like that's when he did go to a different chick. I'm like, here we go. It's but they bring it tenfold in this, because this is just like the next thing after Vesper is like the thing he's so attached to after Vesper, and I thought that was awesome to think to like take that character that I didn't care for in the slightest in the last movie, and then go in this one and be like, okay, she's really growing on me. And then even further in the movie later, I'm like, all right, this bitch fucking growing on me, man. Yeah, I thought that was really cool to really reel me in like that.
Yeah, there was so much more character development in this one than probably like 10 or 15 of the other movies combined. Just because there's so many James Bond ones, and a lot of them are just like mindless action movies. And this movie made me realize, while I don't blame Daniel Craig for taking the role of James Bond at all, because he is James Bond, I think a lot of people take him for granted. because we know him from Knives Out. He's great in that. Road to Perdition. He's great in that. Layer Cake. He's great in that. He's great in so many other films that aren't James Bond movies. But because he's in such a big franchise, I think people often forget that he's a extremely talented actor, and I feel like he feels that way a little bit as well, because he was not sure if he wanted to continue after Spectre.
And money's a powerful thing.
Money's a powerful thing, and he probably read the script and was like, "Fuck, this is a good script," because it was a really good script.
A really good script.
But it really this movie, more than any of the other Bonds, just made me realize that, casual moviegoers really take him for granted, because he's such a good fucking actor, and he made me care about a character that I otherwise did not care about.
Specifically, a lot of the movie was really well shot. All this action sequences were really dope and fun. There was a good forest one where you leaned. You're like,
oh
this
my
is
god,
one of my favorite scenes that I've ever seen
in a Bond
film.
movie. Yeah. Granted, I've only seen his 5 and then one Sean Connery.
Cinematography was fantastic. The score was even great, and I did want to like compliment that. There was a scene where he's like going up to this tower, and it feels like those old timey movies, from the '60s or something, where there's like a live orchestra playing, because like each punch there was like trumpets going on and stuff like that. It was like probably a callback to old Bonds and how they used to do that. And with like orchestras and just the score. So I thought that was really cool. It was just a very well-rounded movie, and I wanted to say that.
Yes.
I wish we saw an IMAX, because that would have doubled down on everything.
While movie theaters are open because of the pandemic, a lot of theaters are not having late show times, and
of course we gotta go late.
We gotta go late because I got a bebe. Long story short, there was no IMAX showing at a time that I could go. I completely agree with you. I was thinking that too, where it felt very, while the other Daniel Craig ones are kind of brooding, this one felt like it had a little bit more fun with it.
It had a lot more life into it.
Yeah, and sure. I don't have a problem with like the brooding of it, but it's more fun to watch. Like, this is nearly 3 hours, and other than like a 30 or 40-minute stretch beginning of the third act, it didn't feel like 3 hours. It dragged a little bit towards the end, and then it picked up again. But like 2 hours went by, and I was like, wow.
Even if it did feel like 3 hours, it was a ride the whole time, to where it was like you're enjoying it no matter what, for sure.
100%.
That's how I was, absolutely.
Yeah, but I completely agree. The cinematography is great. Hans Zimmer did a great score. The sequences, as he said, my favorite Bond sequence, my favorite action sequence. I mean, I have to think about it a little bit, but like, I have not seen an action sequence like the one in the forest in a long time, where I was just like,
is your phone ringing? Because the raid is calling you right now.
What's the raid? See, the raid's just on another level.
That's a whole different spectrum.
Let's talk involving guns.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Involving guns. Well, the raid has guns too. Shit!
John Wick is also
John Wick! Oh, no! But from, like, the sound design in that.
Yeah.
Where, it's foggy and there's bad guys all around, and you're just, with the surround sound, you're hearing them over there, you're hearing over there, you're hearing over there, you're hearing them everywhere, and it adds to the suspense of it all. And it just culminates into this fantastic scene, which I won't really get into because it is a spoiler, but just such a good payoff at the end of that sequence. Normally they have fight sequences that aren't with the big bad, and nothing really comes of it. It's just a bunch of henchmen that get killed, but this builds up to something, and it's just like so rewarding at the end. But yeah, it's a fantastic action film. It's fun to watch. It's got a lot of humorous parts. I laughed at this probably more than any other Bond movie I've seen. Not like
in a good way,
James Gunn Suicide Squad way, but it was very witty, I will say. I enjoyed it for that.
I also will say that I think this is like a struggle for my favorite Daniel Craig movie, honestly. Well, I'm sorry, Bond Daniel Craig movie. Casino Royale is for sure, I think, my favorite. This is definitely either tied or better than Skyfall for me. I'd have to rewatch Skyfall. I actually don't even think I liked it as much as I think I remember I do. But
that's another one that has like a great ending sequence.
Yeah, this one's up there as far as all of the movies go for Bond.
Yeah, I've only seen the other 4 one time each,
Mm-hmm.
so I'd have to rewatch all of them to see which one I like the most. It might just be because this is the newest one. But
after this, I think I want to rewatch all.
Yeah, same here, because it's a great.
It's a great roundabout story.
It is a great roundabout story, and really, without getting too much detail, so to speak, not in a. We should cut that. That's a bit too much. But anyway.
The password, please. I've got a little itch. Down there. Would you mind? No! To the right! To the right! To the right! You are a funny man, Mr. Bond. Ah! Yeah! Ah! Ah! Yes! Yes! Yes!
So what was I saying? Yeah, with Daniel Craig, it really ends in a good way. Obviously, since we're in spoilers, with him dying. First time Bond has died. I googled it right after.
Oh, yeah.
Right after. No Bond has ever died in the movies, and this is the first time. And honestly, I loved it.
Yeah.
When they were leaning towards him dying, like before he died in the movie, I was just like, this is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
This is every franchise should just kill off their characters. I don't care what happens. Just kill off your characters. It's more interesting when you kill off your characters. It's not interesting when they're alive all the time.
Yeah, it's really good closure for audience like us, for sure. It's really good for audience like us, and absolutely Daniel Craig.
Yes,
because he gets he had rough times with that character, and
people judging him for the stupidest shit.
Other things for that.
Like, I remember when they first cast him, people were like, James Bond isn't blonde.
He's got blue eyes.
He's got blue eyes. What? This fictional character does not look right.
He's had very rough times with the character, but in the end, he absolutely loved the time that he had with it and everything like that. And I thought it was a great ending and a great fit for how all of it went and the way it went down.
Mm-hmm.
So
beautiful ending too, with him, losing the last bit of happiness he had, or the only happiness he's ever had.
Just holding his doo-doo.
Yeah, holding his doo-doo. It's the most emotional, beautiful action movie I've seen in a very long time. I can't even think of another one that's like that. But it's just, I don't know what else to say. It's just such a good fucking movie. Way better than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, while we're in spoilers, I'm super content with the way Rami Malek's villain was kind of portrayed. He wasn't like angry. He wasn't like a brute or anything like that. He was just very clean, concise mind. Really, he's just like, no, this is the way I'm gonna do it, and I don't care what you think. I'm gonna poison the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was just, even the way he died, it was just kind of satisfying in a way. Daniel Craig's just like, pop, pop, pop.
Yeah, that was an emotional scene too. But that's when you find out that he can never, hold the people he loved again, and not because he was dying, but because
I just
of
love
the poison.
I love the moment where Rami Malek's given this whole spiel. He's like, you can never touch them, you can never kiss them, otherwise they'll die. And he just goes into this monologue about that for like 2 minutes, and then Daniel Craig just looks at him. He's like, pop, pop, pop. Yeah. That's it. That's it. And he just walks away.
Yeah, it's just hard to talk. It's just, there's so much to like about it.
Yeah. I don't really have much besides.
Yeah, another emotional part when Jeffrey Wright's character died. and honestly, I knew he was in at least one other one. I don't remember his character much, but I just love Jeffrey Wright. So whenever he dies, I'm just like, oh no. No, but in all seriousness, like anytime, same thing when M died when it was Judi Dench. Whenever they kill off a character in a franchise like this, it's always impactful, which is why it needs to happen more.
That's true.
And I know everyone's saying, spoilers for Avengers Endgame right now, but they killed off Black Widow and they killed off Iron Man. Too little, too late. They had 18 movies before they killed anyone of note off. Are you fucking kidding me?
It always comes full circle.
It does. That's my biggest problem with Marvel. I would probably love Marvel if they regularly killed off characters because death is interesting. It makes you reflect, and that's what this movie did. I don't have anything else to say. What would you rate it?
I was literally just about to say, man, scoring this is gonna be a bitch.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I gave Casino Royale. I want to give this a 4.5, maybe a 4. I think 4.5 is the big lean.
Okay.
Because I really enjoyed it. Huge circle of closure and everything like that. Just a fantastic movie. Didn't feel like 3 hours. Yada yada.
Ah! Oh no! Does that mean my car's dead? Okay, good.
Thank Christ. This review's been a little long. 4.5, I think, is the way that I want to go.
Okay, still going. Yes, 4.5 for you. I this might change because I have to rewatch all of them. I've only seen all the Daniel Craig ones once each. But right now I'm going to say a 4 out of 5. I do plan on, after watching that, I do plan on watching his James Bond movies over again because I loved them. I love this one.
Even Quantum of Solace gets a lot of shit, but I say rewatch that whenever you get a chance because it was better than you remember it. I can guarantee that.
I really feel like the scene that I was talking about was in Quantum of Solace.
It might have been, honestly.
Because I remember Quantum of Solace being the one, whereas the Casino Royale overall is a better movie, but that end scene, if it is in Quantum of Solace, that's when I was like, oh shit, they're doing something different here. Which I loved. Yes. 4 out of 5 for me.
4.5 for me. Go see it in IMAX if you can. Yes. It's going to rock your world.
I might go rewatch it in IMAX. Who knows?
And if you watch it in 40X, you're going to be shaken and stirred.
40X is dumb.
You're welcome.
But it's fun. Dumb. It's dumb fun.
All right, well.
Don't see it in 40X, though. That's just fucking ridiculous. It's too much. Bye.
Bye.